Harborlynn Skysong first greeted the world on a silver cool dawn, 7 May 1999, in a pine shingle cabin balanced on tide-worn piling stumps above Alaska's Katchmack Bay. Outside, a lone sea otter rolled shells against her belly, while Harborlynn's mother, a drifting folk soul saxophonist who tucks pressed harebell petals inside her reed cloth, unfurled a velvet riff that set enamel mugs chiming on their hooks. Her father, a midnight dockhand who keeps a notebook full of cloud puffin sketches in his vest pocket, leaned so close their freckles met and promised his daughter that pure gossip, locker snickers, and store racks quitting at 14 would always back away from anyone brave enough to grow into her whole outline. Birds had traveled through the Skysong bloodline like warm Japanese current threading beneath icy bearing drift, so nobody fretted when baby Harborlynn popped a second homespun swaddle before the kettle began to sigh. Granny Lark threaded a sailmaker needle through every burst stitch, patched the holes with kite cloth trimmed from a carnival banner, and chuckled that 3 fingers of extra fabric cost pennies while compressing a child could cost her whole horizon of dawns. Grade school corridors tasted of cedar shavings, blueberry hot cake steam drifting from the kitchen hatch, and salt wind sneaking through warped louvers. Harborlynn towered half a head above her table mates and blocked the overhead glow whenever she mapped humpback rest stops on the pull-down atlas. One drizzly recess, 2 classmates skipped circles around her, chanting, "Ice barge!" Each thud, her gumboots thumped on chalk squares. At dusk, she walked the shoreline, pocket soda caps polished pearl by tide, strunk them on fishing leader, stitched the rattling strand down her tie-green hoodie, and strolled into class at dawn, scattering prism freckles across water-stained ceiling boards. A visiting reading aide caught 10 shaky seconds on a prepaid phone, posted the shimmer to a newborn video nook, and by lunchtime, 15,000 strangers applauded the girl who melted mockery into lighthouse shine. Harborlynn pencil wine Lawick rule beside multiplication drills. Clouds crowd only until you flash them bright enough to scatter. Weekends belonged to the weathered harbor pier, where her mother's sax curls twined with diesel coughs from crab boats, skillet sizzles from salmon burger stalls, and gulls bartering for halibut scraps. Retail jeans snagged at Harborlynn's thighs, so she swapped tip jar coins for sun-bleached gill net, unraveled it into rope, crocheted a high-waist skirt, sprayed puffin silhouettes with squid ink, then posed at apricot sunset against rust-veined bollards while her cousin clicked grainy frame. Each image drifted into a diary she named Lantern Glide the Week. A shiny photo app finally found patchy coastal towers. Captions toggled between dock slang and frank truths, like curves anchor gale gusts steadier than seawalls. 2 weeks before her 16th birthday, 50,000 unseen hearts tapped little icons under every mango frame. Proof glowing rectangles hushed cafeteria razors quicker than any vice principal whistle. The Kachamak Research Scholarship carried her south to Oregon State's Marine Energy Labs. Daylight disappeared inside wave flumes. Nights belonged to a 24-hour fry bread cart, glowing neon papaya under moonlit spruce limbs. The heat lamp doubled as ring light. Between fry baskets, she filmed 90-second reels, folding parchment into fireweed barrettes while decoding dart rotation in half lecture zip and half shoreline hush. On upload, make seal barks with lo-fi beats while she chain-stitched reflective anchor cord into thrift denim. In 48 hours, the view counter skimmed past 1.4 million. Northwest-style blogs christened her the fry bread couturier, though each brand pitch still chucked at size 16. She filed every offer into a folder marked shrinking nets, white brown sugar offer cuff, and plated another order. Dorm a Week delivered an email stamped with the Columbia sportswear crest, inviting her to co-design a spray shawl line called Tidal Flight. Harborlynn returned 3 peer firm terms, patterns to 60-inch hips, half the creative crew hired from community college fashion cohorts, and 10% of net revenue pledged to Kelp Forest revival from Sitka to Seattle. Columbia signed before dawn, tinted lab beakers coral. The shoot unfurled on a tie-pillowed sandbar where plover chicks carved commas toward mirror water. She coached paddleboarders of every outline across glass ripples while a drone traced lazy infinity ribbons overhead. When the lookbook went live, every extended size jacket vanished in 41 hours across 35 nations, and Lantern Glide vaulted beyond 700,000 lantern icons. Breathe in the splash of that milestone and catch the very first ass. If this story already ripples through your ribs, press subscribe now. One gentle click secures your front row rails so next week's voyage reaches your feed before algorithm winds can shuffle it away. Then slip to the description for a low-key link housing a Science Bright guide that maps how any genuine conversation can unlock real attraction and help you kindle a woman's surest interest. Spotlight shimmerilled rumor galls. A clickbait vlog claimed Harborlynn iron clamped her waist beneath tidal flight shills. At dawn, she paddled a cedar board beyond eelgrass ribbons, planted bare feet in cotton shorts and sports bra, traced each silver stretch line with crushed bougainvillea dust, and ripped a sax break so raw even Osprey paused mid-wing beat. 10 million viewers reposted the proof, dusting blush petals onto their own curves until gossip slid onto slack tie. Cart wages braided with capsule royalties and whipped into Skysong cream, a whipped custard swirling spruce tip sweetness, key lime oil, and mica sparks that glow seashell white in any flash. 19,010s cooled atop her father's chart desk, lids tied with braided crab trap rope, each label stamped "Moisturize Your Horizon." Inventory drained in 83 minutes, raising $198,000. 20% seeded Beacon grants shipping industrial surgers and underwater mics to plus-size teens in shoreline schools from Juneau to Jordan Cove. 8 months later, 38 Beacon teams streamed a floating fashion and whale harmony gala aboard a vintage purse seiner draped in solar lanterns, sunrise color spilling into classrooms from Kingston to Kyoto. Seattle Pier Fashion Night birthed new Jetty legend when a backstage vent shredded her royal mesh gown from hip to knee 80 beats before runway. Harborlynn tore neon dock rope off a rig rail, laced the gap like boat hooks, and strode the boards as though the splice had lived in every sketch. Shutters cracked like kettle corn. Vogue Pacific named the fix, Rope Cadence Rescue, and Lantern Glide sparked another million lanterns even before brass horns warmed the after-party air. An ex-assistant leaked clipped emails claiming she demanded king crab towers and chauffeured zodiacs for her rescue puffin orbit. She posted the thread, whole refillable water urns, lentil stew for crew, caption screens for deaf stylists, then routed that month's affiliate swell $136,000 into biodegradable crab trap pilots off Cape Flattery. Fans repeated her breakwater credo, receipts shine brighter than rumor grit, until whispers flattened like kelp at ebb tide. Family steadies her helm. Twice a month she streams porchline grooves. Mom plucks soulful riffs beside a propane griddle. Dad reads cloud haiku. Harborlynn flips thrift denim while Orbit waddles powder sugar loops. One broadcast sailed past 9 million viewers when the bird let loose a glitter sneeze across the lens. A seabird refuge now sponsors each show, tagging rehabilitated puffins with solar beacons paid by Skysong Cream. Cream revenue crested above $12 million in the second fiscal year. She leased a dormant herring shed, cut skylights through corrugated tin, hired furloughed deckhands plus design grads to whip custard and knot lids by hand during midday groove breaks. Auditors begged for shrink bands. She cited Granny Lark, finger store legend longer than plastic clamps and rope ties state. Her feed breathes unfiltered weather. Basalt cliff portraits live beside. Fry bread truck selfies, caption, same sky, different tide. She releases breath loops recorded in tide caves, printable resilience pages in English, and Yupik codes for sliding scale therapy, 3 swipes down. 141,000 readers call her shoreline candor their first calm harbor. Community glow rides sparkle beneath crushed shell dust. Hundreds pedal dust causeways wearing Skysong cream on collarbones and LED seagrass tassels spinning off spokes. Ticket money fattens Beacon grants and lifts wheelchair snorkel rigs over kelplet springs. Chowder shacks simmer late. Salmon chow bowls surge 15% on ride nights. Harborlynn cycles lead on a vintage cruiser with Orbit plush clipped forward, pausing to retie any riders drifting late. She is polishing currents keep names, due in 11 languages next spring, while a documentary crew follows her plan to weld retired buoy chains into floating maker studios for island schools. Puma's Wide Wave lantern sneaker splashes next quarter threaded with reflective rope, cushioned by algae foam, steering 10% of revenue into Beacon nurseries hugging the North Pacific Rim. The second wave of encouragement rolls in here. If that subscribe badge still beams red, let it fade to calm gray now. One fingertip anchors the next tide to your notifications before algorithm backwash can misplace the route. And that love link in the description is always ready when your own heart wants to raise fresh sails. Autumn slides toward hush, playback slows to slack water, new Skysong tints, beacon grant portals, tonight's porch line playlist, and the compass guiding thousands from hello to spark. Wait below this video, free and one-click distant. If the soda cap spine sparkle, rope lace gown rescue, or orbit glitter sneeze coax even half a green tap, like launch your brightest ripple in the comments. And share this passage with a friend whose sails hang slack. Every curve reroutes currents, every scar refracts lighthouse beams, and the coast bows to anyone planting steady boots on the pier and greeting tomorrow eyes bright. The third and final nudge arrives with the last breeze. Subscribe right this beat, claim your rail, explore the love link tucked beneath, and meet me on the next rising tide when another story flickers just beyond the breakers and courage calls your name once more.